Hello, everybody. My name is Joseph Rothschild, aka MBT, and we have had a long 6 rounds of contention. We are now prepared for the top 8. But I couldn't commentate the top 8 of a tournament this powerful alone, which is why I had to enlist the help of my bald friend, BladeYGO. How are you doing here today?
I'm doing good, boys. BladeYGO in the house. Other names you can call me are Baldbeard, the Plunder Patrol God, BladeYGO, BladeYGO, any other bald pun.
Okay, yeah. I'm hearing you. Today we're going to be commentating a top cut that includes, shockingly, a ton of Mech Knight. I don't understand why exactly Mech Knight is the greatest deck in the format, since Dragon Link is clearly so much more powerful than it. But I think what's happened is that every Dragon Link player knocked out every other Dragon Link player.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that could 1000% be it. I feel like Mech Knight, depending on their list, may have a pretty decent matchup because obviously they don't need their extra deck to make plays and they can main deck like 12 hand traps to counter Dragon Link. So that could potentially have been it. But definitely interesting that only one made it to the top 8.
Certainly odd, and couldn't have been helped by the existence of the deck we are going to be watching in this top 8. That's going to be Mount Fuji's Buster Blader list, which is, it literally exists to be Dragon Link specifically. And in this top cut, without so many Dragon Links, I don't know if they're going to be able to repeat the success that they had in Swiss.
Yeah, no, honestly, the Buster Blader deck is really fascinating. Using the trap cards to set up a skill drain-like effect. It may, what deck is it playing?
What do you mean?
Oh, what deck is Mount Fuji playing against?
They're playing against Gren Machu, so...
Oh, this is gonna be interesting.
It'll be something. I don't know if interesting is the right word. It'll be something.
Good point.
We just watched We just watched their win and in which they did not win, but still made it in, against Invoked Dogmatica, and the deck just doesn't look very strong if you're not getting the freebies off of stuff like that.
Oh, geez. Yeah, we're gonna have to give the big prey here, to be honest.
Yeah, aside from that, there's a bunch of particularly interesting stuff at the other tables. Every other match that's not this one is playing against a Mech Knight player, so ideally some of them will be knocked out and we won't have to cast a mirror. But
yeah,
shocking to see only one Infernoble Knight make it very far. Granted, they did go undefeated, but deck's insane and did not receive very many meaningful hits on the most recent list. And shocked to see Invoked Dogmatica put up such an insane undefeated finish as well. I didn't think the power was in that deck, but it worked out.
Yeah, Winda, I feel like, depending on what they played against and if they're even playing Maximus, Winda is a hell of a card, not gonna lie.
The deck is playing Winda. I do like the concept that, like, the decks that are aiming to do unfair things, the Dragon Links, the Infernoble Knights of the world, you need some way to go over the top of them. And this is a great way to do it. It loses to pretty much everything in the format, and does get you massively punished if your opponent is on Cyber Dragon, Nova, and Makaba. But if they aren't, you do win the game.
This is indeed a straight fact. I think it's really interesting that while back in the day you'd have a deck like Sky Striker, which doesn't really have... I mean, they have Engage, which is insane, but like it took a turn or two to really set it up. You have a deck like Invoked Dogmatica that, while getting punished by other control decks, actually just has something unfair against these combo strategies.
Yeah, certainly. All right, they have made it into their game, so I will let them know we are ready to go, and very shortly we will be off with the first match of this top 8. All right, we have made it in, and here we go.
All right.
All right, can you see this, Blade?
Yeah, I can see it on the stream.
Oh, good.
I may be a little delayed, but yeah, I can see it.
So unsurprisingly, Mount Fuji opening with Red Eye's Fusion. The big power play in this deck, of course, is activate Red Eye's Fusion. which is currently the power play in pretty much every rogue strategy. Just sit on a big Dragoon and wait, but much better in this one that has so many ways to get to Verti Anaconda specifically.
I think what's also really interesting about the Buster Blader deck is it utilizes Red Eyes Fusion not only to set up an insanely powerful boss monster like Dragoon, but it also sets up a dragon monster in the graveyard for your Buster Blader plays, essentially acting as a combo piece and a powerhouse.
See, it's not degenerate. It's part of the linear combo.
Of course. We were always trying to get Red Eyes Black Dragon in gray.
Oh, man. And that's massively helped by the banishing of the Dimension Shifter off the top. Oh, Forbidden Droplet is pretty good. It doesn't target, so it will be able to prevent that Dragoon from negating. And Disciple of the Nadir is the follow-up. Wow! Oh, God.
Wow. Okay. That is a big deal. Now, the question is,
yeah.
Snap, the Ash will come down.
The Ash comes down.
Actually massive.
But clears the way for the Pot of Desires follow-up. I mean, this has the potential to be very punishing and the potential to be very good, depending on what the open looks like.
Now, the question is, does Vin actually have Grand Maju in his grip? If he does, this could be just game.
All right, I'm going to reveal a very, very suspect inclusion on Vin's part, and I hope that this doesn't influence the outcome of the game at all. There are only 2 Grand Majus in Vin's deck.
I'm sorry, what?
They're only playing 2 of them! Why would you play more?
Holy smokes!
Oh!
This is...
Yes!
Oh my god! Oh my
That's Yu-Gi-Oh!
god!
That's Yu-Gi-Oh!
This is a new era. This is a new era of Grand Maju.
So this
Holy
is just
smokes.
Grand Maju, right? You get to play all these really powerful going second cards, and if your opponent spends all their cards like Dragma Punishment going 1-for-1 with you, you can end your turn by just smashing down a Spell Mining Cave and saying, hey, listen, by the time I'm outing my own Mystic Mine, there's going to be a 9 quadrillion attack Grand Maju on the field, and it's not going to matter.
See, what I'm seeing right now from Vin is he's playing every single powerful going second card with all of the draw power in the world, like Desires and Allure. And then Mystic Mine. It's, oh, geez. You know?
the defense position Dragoon.
Oh, man. That was actually a pretty good play, no cap, by Mount Fuji, because now his Grand Maju, if Vin summons a Grand Maju at least, it's not going to be nearly as effective.
Hey, that's actually correct. Wow. Oh, good. And the Trap Trick package has come up massively in Swiss, but mostly as an additional way to get Prologue. It also gets Dynamicious, which is one of those trap cards that tends to out Mystic Mine almost exclusively.
Wow, this is massive, being able to use Dynamiscus here. Do we know what he... Oh, and there's the Nadir Serpent.
What a follow-up.
Oh, snap.
No,
that is a power play.
We, I hesitate to say that this is a good top 8, because while it's certainly diverse and doesn't include a lot of Dragon Link and Infernoble Knight, it only does so at the benefit of decks like this that are playing the absolutely busted, unfun, uninteractive blind second cards as a way to run out the clock against that style of deck. So yes, there's not a lot of board building Dragon Link Infernoble Knight decks, but they have been replaced by decks that blind second and just wail on that Mystic Mine.
Yeah, I think it's really fascinating, especially right now, because especially, like, for example, decks like Dinosaur abuse Mystic Mine to oblivion because they just force out all of the negates, and they're like, oh, hey, I got nothing else, except something that's kind of called Mystic Mine. I don't know if you've heard of it.
You just have to go 1-for-1 with enough negates, or draw Dark Ruler plus Mystic Mine. They're all part of, like, holistic hands that also include this extremely unfair game-ending card.
Exactly. See, I really am one of the people who at this point feels like mine needs to get banned on the next list. Obviously, there are other problem cards in the format that also need to get hit, but, you know, mine's just not healthy.
Speaking of, Mystic Mine was summarily banned in that game by virtue of just getting killed.
Oh, snap.
Congratulations to Mount Fuji, who is now 1 game away from ending this top 8 curse, though I will say it gets much better for Grand Maju in games 2 and 3. This deck specifically draws so many cards and plays so many unplayable cards that they are able to board in between 10 and 12 cards and find them with pretty relative consistency between things like Allure of Darkness, Pot of Desires, the multitude of draw spells that they play.
Indeed. Cards like Lightning Storm could potentially be massive here. What I find interesting is a card like Trap Trick and all of the back row that Mount Fuji has technically is chainable to whatever, right? Like Lightning Storm. But that doesn't necessarily mean Lightning Storm's going to be bad. In any case, it forces out everything.
Right. I do like that clearly what's going on here is Vin came to activate Mystic Mine against Dragon Link players, and Mount Fuji came to activate Buster Dragon, the Destruction Swordsman, against Dragon Link players. And the pair of them now have to just kind of stare at each other and hope the more Dragooned deck wins.
Yeah, no, honestly, and I think that's the main idea with this format right now. You have to build your deck to specifically beat Dragon Link, but you also have to make sure your deck is able to compete against these other decks that are trying to beat Dragon Link. And I think that's one reason why we've seen such a shift from representation to top 8, just because like everyone's trying to beat Dragon Link.
Yeah. All right, here we go. We are in game 2, and it looks like once again, unsurprisingly, Mount Fuji is going first. They are going from Red Eyes Wyvern into Red Eyes Fusion. Is there an Ash Blossom?
Yeah, that's the real question. And if Vin sees this, there is no Ash Blossom this time.
One problem with this deck is while it draws so many cards, its openers are terrible. 60 cards, and you have to find very specific hand traps. Agreed.
Not only is it 60 cards, he's playing 2 Grand Maju. Oh, but there's the Mystic Mine again.
So the first
essentially
one,
Grand Maju, right?
The first one will obviously be negated, but a follow-up Mystic Mine or Forbidden Droplets will be functionally the end of the game. Oh, Ecclesia, the follow-up, valued that less than the Mystic Mine, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, Ecclesia and just the Dogmaticas are so powerful. I mean, you're able to force stuff out. You're able to force out the Dragoon. And you have these such resource-intensive cards that have these niche circumstances like activating Fluor.
Yeah, the Droll and Lockbird is certainly a big deal. It's so strong against this Allure of Darkness deck. But after you've gotten the Fleur, it's much less potent. What sucks about Fleur is that it gets to 3k really easily, but getting monsters to 4k is nearly impossible. You really want to be able to prevent the Dragoon from gaining the attack so that you can run over it and then just get in after the board state is simplified. This is gonna be difficult.
Now, I completely agree. And depending on whether this Dragoon loses the 1,000 attack after it gets negated. Oh, it does. Okay. Yep. I was going to say, if it doesn't lose the 1,000, then this is massive. Oh, but he's going to summon a Gizmek here, potentially trying to go for game.
Oh my god, this is it. All right, so Fleur-de-Lis can crash. Oh my god. I mean, it doesn't even need to crash. We could just get over with the Gren Maju. Is there a punishment set?
I feel like Vin may have gotten incredibly lucky with his draws here, being able to perfectly play around Droll.
That's so much worse.
Oh, but there is an imperm.
It's so much worse.
Massive.
Yeah, the Gren Maju going to the graveyard. It means that we'll have to trade the Fleur-de-Lis. We'll get in for just slightly over 4,000. And while Mount Fuji is pretty much out of cards, they also do have a bunch of one-card combos that aren't going to be interrupted by Vin's board.
Agreed. Like, if Mount Fuji either has a Dogmatica card, he has the Wyvern Engrave, which is also a big deal. In fact, he's going to use Wyvern here now to revive back the Dragoon. And it's also a big deal because the Fluor's off the field at this point.
Going for the Bigfoot here, this is questionable. If the Bigfoot is summoned, they might just stop activating effects and crash with the Dragoon. So you have to give consideration of just firing off Dragoon now blindly. Yeah, it sucks so bad, but it's got to get to 4k.
Yeah, even if it's a 1 out of 3 to miss, you just can't take the chance.
And the Ogo
is getting hit. That is massive in this case.
Well, it's
because now Dingirsu can't hit the field.
Yeah, it seems like it's not that big of a deal because Danger Response Team is activatable from the grave, but with nothing to follow it up, I think this is actually just the end of the game. We get to Dragoon twice and then go to combat. Wait, going to battle phase?
Yeah.
Wait, Mount Fuji, don't forget, this card is good!
I mean, maybe he's trying to prevent Gizmek from using its effect again to fuel Gren Maju.
Yeah, I think...
But I feel like he should have popped. Oh no, he couldn't because it was revived from the grave.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh my god, that's a big deal.
Equal
So
to
now
the
Vin's gonna
monsters
have...
used as a fusion summon for this card, so it can't burn.
Wow. And Vin's gonna have a few turns to get back in this. Now
Yeah,
the
trading
question
with
is,
the
can...
Gizmek.
Yeah, the question is, can Vin make a comeback, or will Mount Fuji amount enough resources to seal the game in of itself?
Yeah. Also very funny that Fleur-de-Lis didn't protect itself against Dragoon because this card wasn't special summoned from the extra deck.
Yeah. Oh my god. There are pros and cons to this Dragoon coming back, as it seems. Dang.
And a
I
couple
mean,
of
we still have
passes.
a game.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's...
Mount Fuji's been in this game state before where they just have to draw pass, and this is the card that's been the tiebreaker so many times. Buster Whelp, the Destruction Swordsman, one of the best normal summons in the game. You get a Destruction Sword to your hand, and then you contribute it to summon a Buster Blader, which we can see does exist. That's 2 monsters attacking and might be enough.
The only question is, does Mount Fuji play another
wrong
Buster
zone!
Blader?
Wrong zone!
Oh my god!
What a mistake!
He played into the Anima!
Oh no!
And whatever that said is, Dragoon can just negate it, unless it's Strike, but...
Yeah.
Oh my god!
That's so funny. And he says, I'll take your monster, yeah. And now we'll just go to combat and get it for lethal.
Oh my god. A 5,000 attack Dragoon wins the game.
Wow. That is not how I expected that game to go, but it certainly was entertaining. Congratulations to Mount Fuji on the top 4 finish, and also congratulations to Vin. That was a heck of a showing with Gren Maju, a deck that I don't think anyone really had on their radar. Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, and we are back with the top 4. Not this second, though. First, there's something we need to do. Number 1, I need to absolutely acknowledge how much that last song bopped. And secondly, it is time to speak the names of those that are fallen. Folks, we've had a long, rough day today. It's been very difficult. And last round, we lost 4 very good members of Top 8. They are Space Dandy 1993 on Invoke Dogmatica, Lettuce on Dragon Link, Matajatica on Infernoble Knight, and Vin on Gren Maju. May their sacrifice propel the remaining 3 Mech Knight players to an exciting top 4. Oh, God. I can't wait to commentate this with my co-commentator, BladeYGO. How are you doing?
Oh man, I feel like I'm about to vomit from hearing Mech Knight in the top 4.
There's nothing wrong with Mech Knight. We just don't want 3 of them.
Yeah, you know, like if it was 1 Mech Knight, that is different. But God, you know, well, I just love the mirror match.
We are watching a game right now that is not a Mech Knight mirror. It is Texas, who is playing Mech Knight. It's the different version of the Mech Knight than the other 2 that have made it in. It is invoked. It's playing a lot of the cards you would expect a deck like this to play. Versus an individual who made their way to Top Cut exclusively by beating Dragon Link players. I'm talking about Mount Fuji playing Buster Blader.
Oh man, you know, I didn't realize one of them was invoked Mech Knight. I wish this wasn't the match. Pure Mech versus Buster Blader, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Oh man, but only one can move on. We're guaranteed a pure Mech Knight in the finals. The question is, which player of these 2 are going to make it?
Certainly. I'm personally rooting for Mount Fuji, by the way.
Yeah.
Obviously, would be nice to see something that's not a mirror. But at minimum, I'm glad that the other potential candidate is an invoked Mech Knight player, which is kind of fundamentally a different deck than the version that plays literally every Mech Knight under the sun and does Gear Suit combos.
True.
That said, you know, it would be nice for a little more variety in playstyle. The Ash Blossom coming down on the A-list or the Invoker, but every good Invoked player already drew the Invocation, so we'll see if they did as well.
This is a straight fact. I don't think ashing Alistair is ever correct, because they always have it.
Ooh, they didn't have it! Oh, wait a minute! Hold up!
Wait, this isn't a part of the game plan.
Wait, Mount Fuji is the most powerful player who has ever lived. Gonna normal summon a Buster Whelp with the Destruction Swordsman, one of the most powerful normal summons, still legal, but only in very specific conditions. Gets you a Destruction Sword card, unless it is met by an Ash as well.
This Ash is a big deal. Like you said, Buster Whelp is an insane normal summon, because the trap they can't search is absolutely wild. And so you just kind of have to stop it. Otherwise, the trap is so hard to stop in of itself. I mean, you can't even Ash it because it sends for cost.
You can Ash it; it doesn't do anything.
Agreed. Yeah. This is fascinating. So we're gonna see the Link Kuriboh set 2, all according to the game plan.
Right.
I assume.
And we've seen Mount Fuji kind of flourish in these types of game states, just activating a set copy of Prologue of the Destruction Swordsman. By the way, Mount Fuji is on as many copies of this as they can possibly be, playing a trap trick engine as well, so they can Destruction Sword memories early and often. Alasor 31, thank you for the subscription. Not opening Invoke cringe. I think we're going to see the consequences right now.
I would argue this Buster Blader deck, with the addition of the Red Eyes card, definitely makes it so much more consistent than it was prior.
And I mean, here it is. Buster Blader, the big boy Destruction Swordsman, out. All monsters are dragons by virtue of existing under Buster Dragon. I mean, what are you going to do?
That's the question, you know? You gotta have some form of negation for Buster Dragon or the Buster Blader.
And Texas says, yeah, fine, let's go to the next game.
Looks like he did not have the out.
This is so weird. Listen, I've watched Buster Blader pop off on stream at high levels of play a ton of times, and I think the question is there ever a point where we start taking this deck seriously? Like, the best deck being Dragon, plus the ability to AoE negate anything in a time when monster effects are the most important thing to be negating. Like, is it time for us to consider Buster Blader?
I mean, everything over this past year has just been going Buster Blader's way, to be honest. The fact that, especially Master Rule, where I guess like the revision came out, is a big deal. I remember when I was in the Yu-Gi Tuber Grand Championship, I played Buster Blader, but the problem was not the fact that consistent access to the trap card, but rather setting up the zones to enable the Buster Blader plays. If you can do that, you're able to really establish a favorable game state.
Because it's a synchro and a fusion.
Right. Exactly. So that's been like the problem with it ever since Master Rule 4 came out. But the revision has considerably made the deck more consistent. And especially Dragoon setting that Dragon Engrave is massive. So I think while other cards I don't think the Buster Blader core needs to be hit in general. I think the cards like Dragoon getting hit will be a big hit in general to Buster Blader.
So this time we're seeing the other half of the Buster Blader deck. Normal summoning the Buster Whelp, it eating negation. Once again, I mean, just a powerful normal summon that eats negation like nobody's business to go into a Disciple of the Nadir for an Ecclesia. And from here, we can pop off and flex the Dogmatica half of the deck, which has been propelling Mount Fuji to some absolutely incredible wins. Sending a Chimera Rafflesia for the Nadir to search a Red Eyes Fusion next standby phase. Wow.
Yeah, honestly, like I've been saying, this year in specific, especially August this month, with the release of both Dragoon and Dogmatica, those two engines have been the perfect complementary engines to enable this Buster Blader strategy to work. I've seen other builds playing, I guess, like 60 cards with Eldritch in it as well. And we're obviously seeing Mount Fuji not play the Eldritch cards, which means he has less longevity. But realistically, does that matter in format with decks like Dragon Link and Infernoble?
Yeah. I mean, hard to say. In standby phase, unsurprisingly, getting that Red Eyes Fusion. And good luck to Texas. You got to make something out of this game right now. Winter Cherries! What?
Oh, wait. Wait, what is he sniping?
Dragoon, baby! Oh my god.
Oh my god!
I mean,
That's insane.
would have certainly been funny if they were playing the Buster Blader fusion, but Dragoon is still pretty good. and Mount Fuji says, "Oh, I thought you were going to reveal Buster Blader."
Oh my god, wow.
I wonder how much
Now-
mileage they've gotten out of that.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is in this specific game state, for example, Mount Fuji doesn't necessarily need Dragoon to win this. Especially if he has the Buster Blader trap or trap trick to get access to that insanely powerful one card engine. Oh, but he has Pankratops. Okay.
Wow, that's eating a solemn judgment. Oof. I think you're probably happy about that if you're Texas. A normal summoned A-lister in the Invoker is exactly what you want. You can go from A-lister into Predaplant Verte Anaconda. You can fire off the Invocation, fire off the Anaconda. I mean, this is really just something.
Now, oh, yeah, this is a big deal for Texas here.
All right, time to reveal my second piece of hot information about Texas's deck.
Mhm.
Texas is playing Verte Anaconda. But
Okay.
outside of the Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries target, they are not playing Dragoon. They are
Oh my
playing
god.
Rainbow Neos as their target.
Oh my god! So, see, I find that really fascinating. And I think it's interesting because we've seen that.
Imperial
Oh, snap.
Order.
Oh my god!
That's rough. And
that
Texas
is
says
mad.
that'll do it. A fun fact.
Fun fact. Oh,
I'm
snap.
waiting with
What's
bated
it
breath.
say?
What's the fun fact? I cited in my Dragoon package for Rainbow. Red Eyes Fusion in hand. No way to activate it with the Imperial Order on field. Oh, jeez.
Oh!
And the fastest 2-0 in the West. Texas taken down. And Mount Fuji will be making it into finals with Buster Blader. Man, he had
I'm gonna be
everything.
honest. I was rooting for Mount Fuji, and I still am. But you just gotta feel bad for Texas after that. That was unfortunate.
The poll to determine who won hadn't even finished. There was still time on it. Folks, it's been a long day. A very long day. It's been a long day, folks, and for some reason there's 500 of you now. I can only imagine LCS and Farfa stopped streaming at the same time. We've had 6 rounds of competition followed by 3 rounds of top cut. It's been very long. We've seen a ton of decks, from Dragon Link to decks trying to beat Dragon Link, and that's pretty much it. But today, I am proud to announce our finals will include no Dragon Link cards. It will be finals returnee Rycape, winner of a previous Quarantine series, playing Mech Knight, versus the one, the only, Mount Fuji, who came here to beat Dragon Link, playing Buster Blader. They will be playing, and I will be commentating with my good pal, BladeYGO. How are you doing today?
Oh, I want to rip my eyeballs out. I've only been here for top 8, and I've already had enough of Mech Knight.
We've had a bit of time with Mech Knight. Mech Knight mirrors are abysmal. I do not recommend you ever watch them, and thankfully we won't have to. I'll let them know that we're ready, and hopefully we will be able to crown a champion of the 10th Yu-Gi-Oh! Quarantine series.
Man, I'm just thankful that we don't have to watch a Mech Knight mirror. Oh god. Oh geez. But anyways, we got Mount Fuji returning to the finals versus Rycape also returning to the final.
Now the difference is Rycape has actually won a finals in the past.
Oh, shots fired. Well, it's time for Mount Fuji to maybe make it his first.
Yeah, it's been wild. Mount Fuji was like undefeated in Swiss pretty much up until top 8. Now he's got to play against a bunch of decks that aren't Dragon Link. He's had 0 Dragon Link in top 8, and we'll see if the deck is capable of doing it. But I just don't know. It looks like the way the die roll shook out, the Mech Knight player is going to have to go first. Something that Mech Knight is not very good at.
Now, the real question is, did he open Gearsu or nah? Because if that Gearsu hits the field, it could be a big deal.
Yes! Now that's Yu-Gi-Oh, ladies and gentlemen. Set
Oh
to
god,
as...
yes.
Oh god. So we were talking about Buster Blader in Mount Fuji's previous match, and it is a deck that a lot has to go right for. Master Rule 4 gave it a particular set of problems in that it needs to summon a fusion and a synchro. Formats where dragons weren't just natively being played meant that it couldn't flex the innate power of its fusion boss. It had to be going for the high impact play every time. But suddenly we found ourselves in a format that is very favorable to it. That said, sometimes you still have to pass turn.
Oh, no.
Well, the good news is, while they do have the World Legacy memory, the Ash Blossom follow-up will present the unbelievable Gearsu pop-off on the next turn.
I cannot tell. Oh, and Raikate passes! I can't tell if Mount Fuji bricked or if he's next leveling us and playing the slow game.
Well, we've seen a lot of individuals have success with this strategy specifically against Mechanite, just passing until they have the critical mass of resources that they can commit to plays that they know will get negated. And I think that's what we're seeing now. I mean, there's really no impetus to set anything against very specifically Mechanite.
Agreed. If there's any turn to commit to a play, it's gotta be now. With 7 cards in hand, either, and that's a big card to commit to the board.
Well, that explains the hand. Oh, the Dark Magician and the Red Eyes in the grip. And out comes the Dragoon. We do get to get in for 3k, but unfortunately this gives Raikate the ability to start setting some scales.
Yeah. I mean, this could not have worked out better for Mount Fuji, considering he drew the 2 normals. But, you know, he still drew 2 normals. That's yeah, gonna be honest.
This is interesting. Lightning Storm to pop spells and traps with the knowledge that there's only one spell and trap. It's functionally just an MST here, but it could bait the Dragoon negate, which might be good enough. If the set card is something like a Trap Trick or a Prologue, they're going to get massively punished. Well, for the latter, not the former. Trap Trick, of course, can't be activated in that way. But unfortunately for Mount Fuji, it's Ice Dragon's Prison. And that card is not very good if your opponent hasn't committed to anything.
Yeah, and I do agree with Mount Fuji not negating here. Now he still has 3 cards in hand. It's either you keep that Ice Dragon's Prison or you keep the 3 cards. And I think the value of those 3 cards are going to be important.
Ooh, this is rough. This is a really hot target to negate. Blue Sky, if it goes to the graveyard, won't be pointing to any columns. It's one of the very few Mech Knights that activates on summon. So even if your opponent has a follow-up normal summon, it's not like they can really do anything with it. And the ability to pop off with a Destruction Sword Memories is so strong, but will be countered by the World Legacy's Secret, flipped with no benefit, but will negate the effect of the Dragoon in the same column as the Blue Sky. And the Gearsu coming down afterwards is just killer.
This is massive. I mean, to say at the very least he discarded a Memories, a card that is only, but this is still looking super rough here.
Yeah, this is not good. Lib the World Key Blademaster does not destroy, it does not target, it's the perfect card to deal with Dragoons specifically, and it's also integral to a lot of the combo setups that Mech Knight has at their disposal. So, not only is it going to be advancing Raikate's game plan, it's gonna shut Mount Fuji out of the game entirely.
Yeah, even if Mount Fuji has a Red Eyes Insight, I think it's called, to search another Red Eyes fusion and dump the Wyvern, it's not going to matter too much if Dragoon is stuck in the extra deck.
Yeah, I don't know how mad you can be about this game if you are Mount Fuji. I mean, you did draw, I don't know, Red Eyes Fusion plus Dark Magician plus Red Eyes Black Dragon. Like, this is a, 10% worst hand in the deck. But it's still really hard to be on the back foot against Mech Knight because it is just such a consistent deck that if you brick once, it can just be over.
Yeah, Mount Fuji has to have a hell of a last 2 cards on a top deck in order to potentially get out of this situation.
Even something like a Prologue, which would normally be so strong, is just so much weaker with the World Legacy key on the field. And Raikate has been sitting on these continuous lockers every single match. They have paid off so absolutely well.
Yeah, Mount Fuji needs something like a Nadir servant to potentially get out of this, but he does have
Yeah,
um
that's almost nadir. We'll activate
yeah.
Ecclesia here, and that'll be met with a second copy of Secret. You've got to be kidding me. Out comes the Indigo Eclipse. That'll negate the Ecclesia, and I really do not see an out here.
Yeah. Um honestly, I can't tell. Maybe Mount Fuji is
Oh,
trying to play
that's interesting. Fleur de Lis is a good card, but doesn't resolve the outstanding problem, which is the World Legacy Secret summons from the graveyard, and the negation is kept on the trap. So cards that negate monster effects, like Fleur de Lis, like Appaloosa, they're not very strong against them. It is a great opportunity to get rid of the Morning Star, but not much else.
actually this is way bigger than of a deal than we thought it may. In this specific, I mean, I don't know what Cape set is or that card in hand, but as of this specific moment,
Yeah.
snap! I forgot it can move. Never
Yep.
mind. I was gonna say, if Mount Fuji was able to deal with all that board presence, um, Cape just may not have any follow ups. But in this scenario, things are still looking pretty rough.
Oof. And the set trap is World Legacy Whispers. It means they're not even going to lose the Indigo Eclipse, and that's going to be a concession
Wow.
out of Mount Fuji. Yeah, I mean, just the ability to move and negate two things is fantastic, especially against a deck that isn't like Dragon Link. It isn't like throwing windmill must negate monster negates onto the field over and over again every single main phase one. Instead, you've got some pretty powerful effects that have to resolve, but if they fail to do so, you really don't have a ton of follow-up.
Yeah, no. I mean, oh man, I feel bad for Mount Fuji with the lack of good draws in his hand, drawing two of the normal monsters, which
Very
is
bad, yes.
realistically like a 1% chance. But man, Rycape is showing just exactly why he's playing all of those continuous cards.
All right, last poll,
All
ladies and gentlemen. Who's winning, Buster Blader or Mech Knight? And unsurprisingly, seeing an immediate surge for Mech Knight. Yeah, winning game one is exactly where they want to be.
Yeah, it's Mount Fuji is going to have to pull the reverse sweep here, and I could totally see game 2 going to Mount Fuji, but game 3 may work out differently. So
It's weird
Mount
because
Fuji's yeah.
usually the tiebreaker in these scenarios where you lose game one is, well, I'm going to have to play one game in which I'm going second, and that's so hard. But it's Mech Knight. Like, Mech Knight will be going
Yeah.
second every single one of these games. Functionally, they're playing 3 game ones with slightly better ratios in games 2 and 3, and we'll see how much that matters. Ugh, drawing the World Legacy's memory game 2, miserable news for Mount Fuji.
Yeah, that card is so far stuck to Rycape's hand apparently.
Yeah, normal
Dang.
summoning Girsu here, if it's not met with negation, might just be the end of the game.
Yeah, I feel like the problem for Mount Fuji right now is the fact that Mech Knight is snowballing so hard and it's able to really stay in the game for a while. Whereas Mount Fuji's deck is traditionally built to beat the much more less grindy variants of decks, like for example, Dragon Link.
Yeah.
But we are gonna see this is most likely gonna resolve. I don't think any Mech Knight in the oh my god, he did have the imperm.
That's not great.
Wow.
We can go into Linkuriboh. I mean, we've seen a couple of hands from Mount Fuji specifically like this that have ended up fine. Like, you make Linkuriboh, you set 3 or 4 cards, and then you pass. Nadir Servant is a great follow-up. We've got the Linkuriboh on field, which means we'll be able to special summon the Ecclesia, whatever we want. And we know that that Mount Fuji's Dogmatica portion of the deck is particularly deep. I believe we saw Maximus in previous sets, but I could be thinking of one of the other Dogmatica players.
Yeah, I could totally. Sorry, I think if Mount Fuji's playing Maximus, he may be siding it, but I mean, regardless, in this matchup specifically, it's a big deal. Also, that Chimera Phlasia is going to get the follow-up Red Eyes fusion, which inherently is a super strong follow-up.
This is a really sweet play. By firing the Dynamicious to banish the Linkuriboh, you can't special summon the Ecclesia, and that means that she's not going to be able to trigger her effect and have negation for next turn. That said, it's also kind of a problem for the Mech Knight player, because now there's no columns available. You have to kill them this turn, or they're going to have Dragoon next turn.
Yeah, and this isn't even accounting for Mount Fuji may have like Ash in order to play on Raicape's turn.
Mm-hmm.
We could, if this Nightfall does resolve, that actually is a big deal because now Girsu can use the token summon effect and really get things on track.
All right, so now we've got a column right under the EMZ going for a Lib here. We'll activate the effect of Lib. That's going to set really anything face down. I'd imagine a Secrets, but it could Reborn if we're going for the OTK. Nope,
Yeah.
getting the attack booster. Getting a Whispers telegraphs that you either already have access to Secrets or you're not concerned with any sort of long game. We're going to go for Blue Sky in the column created by Girsu. That's going to add a Mech Knight to hand, but that's the only column available. And if that Lib goes to the graveyard and you want to push for an OTK, you'll have to tuck that token in the process. You're kind of two minds if you're Raicape. You want to OTK by summoning a bunch of big bunguses, but removing your opponent's monsters to do that makes it harder for you to extend further. And again, this game, you'll be playing against a lot of stuff that that Mount Fuji has brought in. Potentially things like Nibiru, hand traps that end your turn. We will see.
He's going to go for Morningstar here, getting rid of presumably the token in this case.
Yep, they are activating Libs, so that token will go to the graveyard. Morningstar will trigger, and that's a copy of... Ooh, that's a nice one. That copy of Indigo in the graveyard means that should they have a Secrets, which they're telegraphing they do, it's going to be a real difficult time resolving monster effects.
And even... Man, I really want to say Mount Fuji is favorable right now with 6 cards in his hand, but those continuous traps are so frustrating to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you think you're able to just, like, resolve something, and then those traps are like, how about I activate these continuous cards and negate your stuff? It's weirdly oppressive in some ways.
So, World Legacy Key complicates things even further, since so much of what makes the Buster Blader deck good is its trap cards. You're going to have to find a way to proc Indigo's move effect early, followed by a Lightning Storm, which seems almost impossible. Oh, well, that's a good start. Wow. Nibiru is an insane play here, because not only do you get Nibiru and they get the token, you can block off one of their zones forever. So anything you activate in that particular zone will always be resolving.
Oh my god, you're right. Not only that, he just gets a free 3k beat stick. And especially in a matchup like this, I feel like while Raicape has a lot of big bodies, none of them are, except Avramax, are getting to 3k. This nib is massive here.
Oh my god, but Raicape is on Link Spider for this exact scenario. Oh man, and now every spell and trap zone, every monster zone is once again free. Any spell, trap, or monster effect will have to contend with Indigo. I mean, this is some 5-head play.
And it's rough for Mount Fuji too, because if out of summons for the turn.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Or he can normal summon something, but then he's locked out of Red Eyes fusion, so it really comes down to if he has to different things. I feel like if he's able to chain like Cosmic Cyclone to something, that could be massive. But this game state is going to be really hard to get out.
Yeah, it would have to be like... If you Cosmic the Secrets, then you don't have to contend with Indigo Eclipse, but you do have to contend with Purple Nightfall and the follow-up Eclipse later. We know that they have set a copy of World Legacy Memory. If you Cosmic the World Legacy Whispers, maybe it works, but all of these are huge hypotheticals.
Yeah, and he's going to reveal Ecclesia. I'm sure this is going to go through, but this also turns...
Yeah. And unfortunately, this isn't all one effect resolution. It's an effect that activates in hand and an effect that activates on field. So when the effect that activates on field activates, if Rycape so desires, they can flip up the secrets and negate it.
Yeah. Oh, the only way I can see Mount Fuji pulling this off is if he's able to get rid of all the board present.
Yeah.
The one thing we have to keep in mind is that if Rycape, I mean, he does have a purple Nightfall banish, but if he's not able to get his Mech Knight cards circulating constantly, then he, whilst being able to stop all Mount Fuji's plays, won't have any board presence to apply pressure. And we could just see Mount Fuji go to battle phase right now in order to clear some of these cards.
It'd be nice to clear the Indigo Eclipse, but I mean, the follow-up Purple Nightfall and the follow-up Memory are just so devastating.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Mount Fuji.
Oh no.
He is gonna go to battle phase. I mean, I wouldn't call out Mount Fuji like out of the game just yet. He does have 5 cards in hand, but it's hard to argue Mount Fuji is in this just because the cards are so easily stopped by all the Mech Knight plays.
And missing the Whispers here, I don't know if it was an attempt to proc it early or just unfamiliarity with the card, but it does an attack and defense boost, so we won't even be able to remove the Indigo Eclipse from the Nibiru, things are looking quite grim.
Man, this Mech Knight deck is, I mean, it's showcasing that is pretty strong, but it's also so annoying.
Yeah,
like
certainly.
everything is so sticky, and they have so many resourceful plays. It's definitely showcasing why it's in the finals right now.
Yeah, Girsu has done wonders for this deck. Absolutely. Man, obviously we have no idea what the contents of our good pal Fuji's hands are, but I just struggle to think of what would be even relevant in a world where World Legacy's key is just online. Looks like they're going to go ahead and move the Eclipse to one of the zones so that only one of the traps maximum will be on.
Yeah, and then if...
Yep, and back comes the purple in the other zone.
Yeah.
Right, blue sky comes down. It's going to trigger for 1. Not perfect, but should be enough. We can get a purple here because 1 hasn't been special summoned from the hand this turn. A red if we want to push for damage, which it looks like we do. And, oof.
It's pretty awkward, right? That since specifically blue sky was summoned to that zone, now he can't pop the Nibiru. So, not that Rycape won't have an out, but it's definitely interesting to see where this goes. I mean, we could just see some way to out the Nibiru, maybe like through Lib, and that will enable us to attack for game with the 2 cards staying negated. But this is quite the situation.
So we're going to
there
summon
we
a
go.
Morningstar, yeah, and then Indigo Eclipse the Red Moon into the same zone as the Nibiru, and this allows an activation of Red Moon, triggering in the same column as Nibiru, destroying it, and then getting in for well over lethal. There are some problematic cards in the back row as well, so it's going to have to be a lot from Mount Fuji, and they're going to have to activate under key, under zones in which Mech Knights occupy. This feels like the end of the game. Teekboo is a hell of a card that unfortunately doesn't do anything while Key is on the field.
Oh, that is so rough.
Although they will chain a Paleozoic Dynamiscus, which is funny, and also inconsequential in a world where it comes in under an EMZ. Oh, dang. Wait, hold up. What? Oh, well, that is interesting.
Oh, it's only activated effects. Oh my god, we were big. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, it ends up not mattering, but that is so funny. And Rycape, once again, is your Yu-Gi-Oh! Quarantine Series champion. Folks, he can't keep getting away with it. How are you letting this Mech Knight deck walk all over everyone? Oh gosh, an incredible showing from a lot of really talented players, but Rycape walks once again with just an absolutely unbelievable list. Congratulations not only to Rycape, but also to Mount Fuji, all of our top 8 competitors, and to everyone who played as well. That is gonna do it for us. Blade, thank you so much for jumping on for Top Cut. I really appreciate it.
Happy to be here. Congrats to the Column King, Rycape.
The column god.